Well, good evening. We're only 4.5 minutes late. That wasn't too bad.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, it's almost
considering
normal.
Rogers just got here and,
yeah,
you know,
Came in hot from Athens.
he's
That's
usually
right.
the one that keeps us straight on things.
So, well, in any case, good evening.
We only messed the login up a couple times.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah. All in all, it was really rough, and we probably, hosed it up pretty good.
I was
but,
monitoring y'all. Y'all did a great job.
So we were on the air?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody thinks we're not.
well, I think everybody that's on a repeater other than Flagship thinks that we're not,
Well,
and there may be some truth to that.
True.
We might not be on the air on every repeater other than Flagship, but
Right.
we ought to be. All right. Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net, the most interesting net in two-way radio. And we did determine that we are still regional because there are 10.5 counties.
Probably more than that.
There might be
Really?
more than that.
There might
but,
be.
Well, we have a count of 10. Well, Carmine in Fayetteville, so there's 11.5.
there you go. But forgot about Carmine.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
he checked
there's-
in, too.
Absolutely. So
You
this
can-
net takes place every other Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. 7:35, 7:34, 7:30 something. I'd like to thank all of you who've made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country.
Active for sure.
Net control tonight is Atlanta 946 WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
Atlanta 1150 WRSV. I could say that fast.
I don't think that's a legitimate call sign.
WRZV 748.
In Atlanta, what? Did you say?
Atlanta 1150.
Okay, there.
I have to say that first.
Oh, okay. Got you. This is Atlanta 263, WSAL 368, Rogers.
You off?
And this is WSAM 231, Atlanta 181, Jim.
And WRQ G806, Atlanta 557, this is Ed.
And WRWK 619, Blue Ridge 33, this is Dana.
All right, on the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we'd like to hear about. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Guest check-ins are welcome from anyone with a valid FCC call sign. If you're checking in on YouTube, please include your FCC call sign if you have one, first name, and your general location. We don't need to know what floor you're on.
What road?
Or what the suite number is.
Something about a bridge.
Yeah. We
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Well, I think we do. I think we do need to know about the bridge.
We do.
Please include your FCC call sign if you have one. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and sign out of the net. Also, you can tune in to our YouTube channel, follow along, or even better, tune in after the net to watch your appearance on the network. You can hear how you sound to us right here in Studio Vanguard. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment as we know you are watching. These interactions mean the most to help our YouTube channel grow. So tonight's topic is linking and how GMRS repeaters work, and all the questions that you might have, and all the answers we can come up with.
Yeah.
Let me break. So with that, we're going to move. I think we're going to move right into announcements, if my throat will let me get through them. So this is a recycle of last week's announcements because I didn't get an email out to get an update.
It's
So
kind of been a busy week, hasn't it?
there's been a few things going on.
Okay. Just a couple?
Just a couple.
That's what
So good evening, everyone. All right, you know who I am. I'm not Pamela. That's what it says.
Uh-oh.
Excuse me.
Don't start that now.
Tune in tomorrow night for North Georgia GMRS Network's Friday night at 9 Simplex Challenge on the Monument Repeater. Tune in to learn about emergency comms and use of Simplex frequencies. Also, beginning at 7:15, the North Georgia Amateur Radio Association Friday night at 9 2-meter Simplex Challenge on the N4 KHQ repeater. Come test your radio's reach in a world of Simplex. Don't miss Saturday Night Sessions, a ham radio talk group with your host Dana, as he talks about gearing up for NGGMRS and the NGARA relay. I wanted to take just a moment to talk about
The relay?
the concept of a relay. So, in the era that we're about to enter of a region without linked repeaters, if you need to pass a message of any distance, relay messaging may be the way to get that done. So if you need to reach out to somebody who's not on the same local repeater that you're on, reaching anybody on that repeater that has a footprint into multiple repeaters might be a good solution to be able to pass a message on to somebody. And so just something to bear in mind. When Dana conducts this exercise, it's going to be sometime in the fall. This will be a great way to experiment with who can pass messages and how far you can get them. So, Dana, what is the goal here when you do this? Are you going to try to generate? Is this going to be like the game telephone?
Well, I'll tell you, it's actually going to be different from the last time we did it. This is going to involve amateur and GMRS, and it should prove to be a rather. It's going to be pretty technical to get it arranged, but it should prove to be a pretty cool thing.
All right, very good. Well, stay tuned for some more news and information about the NGGMRS and NGARA relay once they settle on a date and time for that. What's your topic going to be for Saturday night sessions this week?
Saturday night sessions going to be a little bit about the relay, and then we're going to go right into everybody's going to give me their story, how they got involved in RF, whether it was GMRS, then amateur, then GMRS, and their likes and dislikes. Then we'll go from there.
All right, good stuff. Well, very good, Dana. And let me go ahead and continue on with the announcements. This is the part that, all right, pay attention because this matters. We're talking about food now.
Are you reading that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Kennesaw Gathering will have their next Meet and Geek on Tuesday. It's not Saturday. It's Tuesday, September 8th at the Old Town Grill on Cobb Parkway, around the corner from the McCollum Airport in Kennesaw at noon. So it's Tuesday.
The 8th.
On the 8th. So, if you're out there on the fringes and you've got questions about GMRS radio, all right, so the way that tones work is not real obvious. And the offsets and the whole repeater thing, if you're brand new in radio, it can be really confusing. So the challenge a lot of people have is they get a radio, they turn it on, they scan through a few channels, and they start hearing stuff.
Right.
And let me break. They start hearing stuff, and so they hit the PTT, and nobody will answer.
Nope.
Well, that's rude. Got this conversation going on out there, and you would like to be a part of it, and
Right.
and nobody will answer. Let me break again.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're rude. It's not always rude.
So it's not that anybody's being rude. It's just that they can't hear you. And the reason they can't hear you is because before your radio will talk on the network, you have to be, well, it's not really on the network anymore, is it?
No, you got to quit using
The way
word.
that your radio will talk on a repeater is that you access the repeater using a PL tone. It could be a CTCSS tone, or it might be a DCS tone. And sometimes that DCS is a DTCS. It's different in different radios, but basically it's either an analog tone or a digital tone, and that tone tells the repeater to carry your traffic, to repeat your message. If your radio isn't programmed with that tone, it will never retransmit your audio. So the Meet and Geek and some of these other lunch gatherings are a great way to get questions like that answered, and maybe even get your radio programmed to operate on North Georgia GMRS repeaters. Also, if you're a mesh core or mesh, well, it's not Mesh-tastic anymore. If you're a Mesh-tastic guy and you want to get up to speed with mesh core, bring your unit, and Ed will help you get it reprogrammed to operate in the new mesh core environment with the proper configurations,
I
etc.
think I might have to go get in my my solar node's not working, so I might have to bring in my solar node.
I've got a node around here somewhere I should send with you
Okay.
when you go. We might just have to go. Let's just go crash Ed's luncheon.
We might have to.
I think that'd be a great way to do that.
I think I might be able to do that.
Coming up, we have the Chattanooga Radio Luncheon on Friday, August 21st. Is that tomorrow? That's tomorrow.
Is it?
At Champy's, located at 6515 Ringgold Road in Chattanooga. All GMRS users, hams, Skywarn spotters, along with friends and family, are welcome. Whether you want to talk radio or something completely different, feel free to join the conversation. Please reach out to Jonathan, Chattanooga 30, Ronnie, Chattanooga 69, or Jim, Chattanooga 84, if you have any questions. Now, I talked with Ronnie yesterday, and so there's some question in the air as to how Skywarn is going to proceed in this brave new world.
Well, I think, hang on a second. I think there's a lot of people that might be listening on YouTube, maybe even RF, that doesn't even know that we have a GMRS Skywarn net for the Chattanooga area. And the reason being is, what, not enough amateurs up there? Because normally that's an amateur thing, correct?
It's normally an amateur thing, and in this area, the amateur radio community does Skywarn exceedingly well.
Right.
And I really wouldn't want to try to introduce any variables into that, because I think the only thing we could do is diminish what's there.
Correct.
We
Our
couldn't-
area, in the North Georgia area.
We couldn't add to it. We could only take from it. Let me break, reset. So, but in the Chattanooga region, it's a little bit different, because the region is not flat, and the topography is such that you really don't have very good coverage off of any one repeater.
Right.
And so because of that, a linked network becomes very valuable, because now you can expand your coverage over many, many repeaters and have very good area-wide storm spotting in a region where the National Weather Service radar does not cover well because of the topography.
Right.
So the weather radar stations that cover that region are very, very distant, and they don't see the ground really at all because of the ridge lines and the topography. Weather events have and do happen in the Chattanooga region that the National Weather Service is completely unaware of, except for Skywarn spotters that are reporting it. So this is going to be a game changer for the National Weather Service in that region. Not having the linked repeater network. Now, what we typically would do is on Tuesday nights when they would have their nets, we would segregate the northern region of the network
Mm-hmm.
and let them do their Skywarn nets just within that portion of the network, so that the rest of us aren't interfering with it. Because the weather in Woodstock has
unrelated
nothing to
to
do with
Chattanooga.
what's going on in Chattanooga.
And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is like, oh, well, the Skywarn net, when they were going off, everybody in Macon was hearing it. No, that's not how it worked.
No, and anytime there was an activation, we would also separate the network so that it wasn't a source of panic and confusion for people hearing about severe weather that are hundreds of miles away from it.
Right.
So, we would always break up the network so that it was relevant and regional for the Skywarn events. So go to Champies. If you have an interest in Skywarn, how it's going to proceed, they'll be discussing it there. I don't know that they're going to come to solutions, but they are going to have a conversation about it. Let me break. And next on our list, we have the Peachtree Corners Brunch Bunch. We'll meet on September 19th at JR's Log House. I think they just had their luncheon last weekend.
Right.
It was, but I was unable to.
Yeah,
no,
you had-
it's this weekend. Is it this weekend?
No, I think it was last. Well,
The third Saturday. It's the third Saturday.
third set.
Yeah, you're right. It was the 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was unable to make that one.
So, but the next one's going to be September 19th. Rogers, do you think you'll be able to make the 19th?
I should be able to. I have it down in my calendar, but
Oh.
Sometimes life gets in the way.
Sometimes it does. I think that's another. And, that's the Saturday one, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a working stiff. It's hard for me to go to things that are happening in midweek.
Right.
But I should have planned out my vacation time a little better. If I'd taken next Tuesday off, I could have gone to. Wait, is that?
I made it to Ed. I made
No,
it to
no,
Ed's,
that's not going to work.
Yeah, I made it to Ed's.
Have you made it to Ed's?
last week or 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
All
very
right.
good.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah, so maybe I'll have to just schedule a day off and go to one of these weekday events. So the Ringgold one is on Friday. The one in Kennesaw is on Tuesday, but Pamela's gathering is on Saturday, September 19th at JR's Log House, located at 6601 Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, Peachtree Corners. It's on the hill next to the bridge. You'll probably drive by it just like I did. It's easy to turn around, come back to. They meet at noon, but they hang around until 2:30, 3 o'clock. This upcoming gathering will be aiming to reach our previous goal challenge of 20 or more. More would be great. So come bring your family and friends for a great meal, plus a hands-on help of learning about the NG GMRS network. So there again, if you have questions about setting up your radio, there are people there that can help you get your radio programmed and get on the
and
network.
what repeaters you might be able to get from what area you're in.
That's
maybe
right.
you don't know.
That's right. So try to make that. If you can't make it to the Tuesday event because you're a working stiff like I am, maybe Saturday is your game. September 19th at noon, JR's Log House. If you have any questions, reach out to Pamela. You can do that in a couple of ways. You can call out to her on the air. Pamela is Atlanta 849. Or you can send an email to skygazerpamela849. All of that with no spaces. skygazerpamela849 at gmail.com. All right. And coming up, well, let's just skip these for now.
Yeah.
Okay. We got some ham fests that we're looking at, particularly the ham fest in Chattanooga will be happening on, that's going to be coming up faster than we realize, October 16 and 17. The 16th is a Friday. That's going to be from noon to 6 p.m. Let's break. The 17th is a Saturday. That's going to be from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's going to be a great ham fest. I believe that North Georgia GMRS will have Vanguard there, and we've even discussed maybe even hosting a net from Vanguard from the grounds at the Chattanooga Ham Fest. So we're not quite sure we've got everything worked out for that, and in light of the new era that we have entered, if we did that, we would probably be maybe on the lookout repeater.
Yeah.
if we host a net from up there on that event.
It would be local to that area.
Absolutely. So, it'd be an opportunity for us to expand our footprint a little bit in the RF world of things. So, for those that haven't figured it out, the links are down, and they're going to remain down. In fact, even our teams meet. You see these folks, these fine folks helping out with us on Google Meet. Their audio is direct RF into the repeater, and
See,
so
Dana's got his headset on. Those Heil 9s.
yeah, they're 9s.
Ed, show us your mic.
Ah,
They can hear us.
yeah. He's
But that's
straight from the? Is that the Lollipop Guild?
That's what he called it earlier.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
And then Ed, or poor Jim, last minute, right, Jim? Had to get a handheld out.
So, yeah, and nobody really, we didn't really plan for this. This is just kind of on the fly. But I think this is the new normal for GMRS nets, and in compliance with the FCC's expectation that we eliminate the linked repeater network. So we'll talk about that and a number of other things. Do we miss anything in the announcements?
Not that I
is
know
it all
of.
there?
I think, it's never all there, but. But hey, I think we're good though. I think announcements. Anything new except that we are not linked as of now, right?
That's right. I thought we were going to have one more week of a linked network. I thought this was going to be our last linked net, but
So did I.
but the links are down, and
the links are down.
that's
by
that's
choice?
that's the new normal. We're
Right.
going to be operating primarily on flagship. When occasions to operate on other repeaters make sense, we'll do that. We'll try to announce it ahead of time.
Right.
We're just the bandwidth just wasn't there to really get in front of it this time. But
Right.
it was coming. We all knew that it was coming. We saw that October 1 date, and we thought that okay, we're going to remain linked until then.
Right.
Well, the reality is that we wanted to have some wiggle room. Let me break. To be able to be fully compliant with the expectation that the links are eliminated. So it's not enough that we're just drop the links. We are eliminating the linking. There will not be the possibility of linking after the
Right.
October 1 date. So the hardware is going to be changed. We're not removing it, but we are changing it. We're removing the PTT functionality from the devices. So we still have remote control. We still have monitoring capabilities. I believe so. The engineering isn't completed on this. So,
Right.
so all of what I'm saying is speculative and may or may not even be. So, but that's the intention at this point is that we'll be able to still control the repeater, do some monitoring, probably record most of the repeaters. I don't know if we'll be able to record them all. We probably could. It just depends on the hardware. So, that will be what we're looking at going forward. So we don't have all of the technical questions answered, all of the hurdles haven't been leaped, and all of that.
Right.
So that may or may not happen.
That's why we're starting now to get it all worked out before the 1st.
That's right. So come October 1, the ability to be able to remote into a repeater and operate it, with transmit and receive, is going to be technically disabled. We're in full compliance here. There's no halfway. There's no shade in any of this. We're fully compliant.
But
So-
guess what? We're not going away.
No, we're not. Nothing really changes. All right,
Can't
so
get
you
rid of
can't
us that easy.
you can't hear the net on any repeater anywhere. You can hear the net on one repeater almost everywhere.
Right.
So, and that's just the magic of elevation. All right,
Right.
we've got a great location with fantastic elevation, and that repeater has a fantastic set of ears.
Right.
It's using Kenwood technology, the finest in receivers that are out there. We have a really nice preamp on the receive side of things. We are going through a combiner to get to our RF output because we're combining a couple of repeaters on the same sets of antennas. Flagship has separate transmit and receive antennas. So that's one of the other things that makes it perform so well.
And plus, that antenna is not cheap. I saw somebody Googled it, and it's close to $5,000 just for the antenna.
I don't think we're paying that much for them, but they
well,
are.
To buy a new one is what it costs right now.
Well,
online.
maybe it does. Maybe it
So
does.
that's what,
I don't think we paid that much for them, but I tell you, by the time you, all right, so shipping is a kind of a big deal. Shipping is a big part of the cost because let's break. Because you don't get to just click the box and get that delivered in 2 days by Amazon.
No.
So shipping is kind of a big deal on those antennas. They do break down into 2 10-foot long pieces. But
still.
usually when you get that, it's going to show up on a pallet, and you've got your 2 10-foot long pieces with the elements attached, strapped down to a big wooden pallet. They put it on a pallet to keep the shipper from, stacking stuff on it and, just manhandling it. There's no good way to box something like that. It's just an odd shape, the DB420 style antenna.
And that's what you said, the flagship repeater and the monument repeater, right?
That's right.
That's why we're combining them?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, so, several, actually, repeaters on those antennas. And it's a great system, but, you lose a lot going into the combiner. And but you gain some of that back with a high-quality, high-gain antenna. So I haven't looked at the power outs on the repeaters up there lately, but I know in the past we've been at 35, 40 watts.
Right.
So we lose some, like I say, through the combiners. We gain some through the antenna. It's sight and elevation and high performance, high quality equipment that makes these repeaters perform so well. So the idea that we're using illegal power is just silly. And here's the other thing: is the FCC demands the right to inspect a station anytime they want.
Right.
So
always has.
They always have, and that's always been a thing. So if we're operating a station with illegal power, we're just asking for trouble, and we're not about that. So this thing says that it's time for me to ID. So this is WQYR 514 Atlanta 946. My name is Justin.
Atlanta 1150 WRZV 748. Tony.
And this is WSAL 368 Atlanta 263 Rogers.
This is Atlanta 180 WSAM.
Atlanta 557 WRQ G806. This is Ed.
And WRWK619. This is Dana.
All right, you guys, you got to use that PTT, and you got to hold it down the whole time that you're talking. Otherwise, it sounds like this, and nobody really knows everything that you've said because you're up and down on the PTT. So, Ed, great job. The rest of you?
Wow, it's a rough night tonight, guys. Rough night.
So, in any case,
I'm on your side, though.
The idea that we're running illegal power just isn't so. And there's been some rumors out there too that the FCC has reached out to some of the property owners that we have sites on. That's not how the FCC works. The FCC doesn't have any jurisdiction over property owners. If the FCC has a problem with any of our radios, they will reach out to us.
Right.
And we will be. Actually, it's not even we. It's Gary.
Right.
It's Gary. There's nobody else. There's no we. It's Gary will have to respond and deal with any requests that the FCC makes. So we don't run illegal power anywhere. We run high-quality equipment. And if you're running stuff other than Kenwood, you might not know about high-quality equipment. That is a dig. But but seriously, that is part of why we run Kenwood radios. The audio is better. That's undisputed. I mean, anybody that has been out there using radios knows that Kenwood quality is remarkable. Motorola radios are great radios.
Right.
ICOM radios are fantastic radios. Kenwood radios are what we use, and there's a reason for it. And the performance that we get out of them is part of that. So there's no reason to run illegal power when these radios barefoot will perform quite well,
Right.
just as they are. Most of our radios are not tuned to output at 50 watts. They're actually tuned down from that,
Right.
oftentimes by 10 or so watts, because we don't need to. All right, there's no sense in having a repeater that can talk for miles and miles and miles farther than it can hear. Now, it's
Right.
one of the situations that it just exists with Flagship. Flagship is an alligator. It talks for a long, long way. I've been able to listen to Flagship all the way as we're going to Nashville, all the way until I get to the hill at Mount Eagle. As you start climbing that mountain, I start to lose. Once you get around the bend there,
On the one side.
you start losing Flagship, and then I don't hear it again after that. But no, I can't get into it from there. But I can hear it. So with that in mind, the idea that we're running anything other than legal power is just false. Lots of rumors that are coming up out there, and the only thing that the FCC has commented on is the fact that we were linking. If you go through and you look at the notice of violation, it doesn't say anything about charging for access.
Right.
It doesn't say anything about illegal power.
Right.
It doesn't say anything other than it comments about the fact that our repeaters are linking. And let me break. What's funny to me is that how much energy they spent in citing our own sources for their investigation. So they went to
we sure weren't hiding it, were we?
They went to our YouTube channel and they watched Behind the Scenes with Julie to find out about how our repeaters work. They went to our website and they saw our linking pages. They reference all of that stuff in the notice of violation. We have never hidden what we do from you or the FCC or anyone. We have always operated in the open with pride. We have operated with the full expectation that we were in compliance with the rules as they were written. Now, there's an interpretation of the rules that shows up on the Part 95 webpage, and it talks about, in that paragraph at the top of the webpage, it talks about the fact that GMRS linking of repeaters is not allowed. But that's not a Part 95 rule. That's an opinion.
Right.
That's an interpretation. And I still believe, even with the notice of violation, that we're dealing with an interpretation of the rules and not the actual rules. Reading through the rules, you see specific elements that talk about how GMRS linking is not allowed. And they specify that you're not allowed to link over the telephone lines.
Public telephone public switch.
So, all right, well, that's not how we linked. Now, years after we'd been linking radios for nearly 10 years now, since 2017.
Hear that again. 10 years.
10
they've
years
been linked.
of linking radios. How long has the rule been changed to say or any network?
2, right?
That happened in 2021.
21? Oh, okay.
So now the FCC did a big rule change back in 2017. Back in 2017, a part of that rule change had to do with and if you look at the bottom of the ECFR, it spells it out about the big issue that the FCC had with the FRS radios that were being marketed out there. That in 95.1791 says effective September 30th, 2019. Okay, this rule happened in 2017, but they gave some time for marketing and sales and whatnot to get to the place where they could comply. Effective September 30, 2019, no person shall be permitted to manufacture, import, sell, or offer for sale any radio equipment capable of operating under both this subpart and subpart B FRS of this chapter. So what that really boils down to is people were selling FRS radios that had GMRS capabilities and are saying you can use this radio and there's no license required. So users were using basically a GMRS radio, accessing GMRS frequencies at GMRS power levels without a license. And it was because of the way these radios were being marketed. And this rule is specifically about those marketing practices. Let's break.
You're in 95, 17, 91?
1791. That's right. So that was the big change in the rules in 2017. GMRS linking was a very common thing. There were many dozens and dozens of groups linking GMRS radios throughout the country. There were several pieces of technology that were being used. We played our hands through a few of them before we settled on what we have today, which is mostly an in-house product. So the linking technology that we use is something that has been modified and updated from existing. Basically, it's All-Star technology at its root, but it's not plug-and-play All-Star. It's a very customized version of All-Star that we use for our linking. Now, we're not linking anymore. Not on North Georgia GMRS. We'll talk about linking here in just a little bit. But, there we are. In 2017, we're linking. All the other groups are linking. Everything is fine. Along comes this rule change in 2021 that says, or any network. And nobody really understood what they meant by that because there's no definition of what a network is. The FCC really doesn't define that. So, all right, well, we didn't really think that we were in violation of a rule at that point either because everybody is doing it and the FCC is not saying anything. So we continue to link. And then along comes 2024, and there's a group up in upstate New York, and they are linking over a voter system, which to my knowledge uses a telephone system as their backhaul for the voter system. And that was specifically in violation of Part 95 rules that talk about not using the public switch network. That was a clear violation. But there was never a notice of violation issued to that group. That was just a casual conversation from an FCC agent to a repeater owner that said, hey, knock it off. And the repeater owner looked at the rule and he said, you're right. I'm in violation. I will cease immediately. And the way I understand it, he shut the voting system off that day.
Yeah.
And that put all of his repeaters in upstate New York into standalone mode. Okay, so there's no violation there. There's no official notice of violation, and there's nothing on record. Fast forward over the next several months, and the FCC has reached out to repeater operators all over the place, and basically saying, knock it off. And so they did. One by one, two by two, as time went on, over and over again, we saw the same thing. Repeaters were being unlinked by linking groups all throughout the country. Let me break. So here we are. What do? We gather as a leadership team, and in fact, we gathered right here in Woodstock at the dining room table that you and I ate at just a few minutes ago, Tony.
Right.
And we opened up Part 95 rules, and as a group, we went through the rules trying to understand what it is that the FCC has against GMRS linking and what changed. And there's nothing really specific in there that changed other than those three words, or any network. And what does that mean exactly?
What's the definition of a network?
Because it was undefined, and are we in violation? Because the spirit of the rule is really about a phone patch. The intent of that rule, when it was written in the mid-'60s, when GMRS came to be, that was all about a phone patch. You can't do a phone patch in GMRS radio. We didn't do a phone patch. There's nothing that we do that incorporates public communications into the audio that gets transmitted over our repeater network. It's all GMRS licensed generated traffic. So we didn't see where we were in any way in violation of the Part 95 rule at that time. In April of 2025, an FCC agent showed up at one of our sites, at our flagship site. And he reached out to us. We returned, we made a phone call. Gary made a phone call to the agent and asked him, what can we help you with? And at that time, he asked when we were going to discontinue our linking. And Gary's response was, I don't think we're in violation. Send us a letter and let us know what the violation is. That was April of 25. It took 16 months for the FCC to generate that letter.
Right.
All right, so that's where we're at. We're not going to be bullied and told knock it off without a document, without something that substantial that says that we are in violation.
Right.
Because we didn't think we were. We still don't think that we were in violation. I think that GMRS linking does more good than harm, and I think that GMRS linking has done a lot of good to the North Georgia and Southern Tennessee region, and I think that dropping the GMRS links is doing great harm to the community. Now, how is that? How are we doing harm to the community?
Well, we're losing Skywarn.
We're losing Skywarn in the Chattanooga area.
We have an ERC net.
The ERC net is still going on, and that's happening on the flagship repeater only. I think they were mostly successful.
Right.
That's one area where they're going to have to learn how to do some relay contacts. So those that are on the fringes of flagship coverage are going to have to work at.
You want to tell them what ERC is?
At relaying.
A lot of people might not know.
Well, it's the Church of Latter-day Saints Emergency Response Communications Net, and basically, well, let me break. Basically, it's an opportunity for them to maintain communications with their various stakes and to be able to practice those communications so that in the event of any kind of a disaster, they're not scrambling trying to figure it out at the last minute. They have an idea of how to contact and communicate and how to be able to send information throughout the group. So the ERC net, I think, will be okay for the most part, but the ESN net,
Right.
That's going to be rendered mostly ineffective. Now, we're going to do our best to continue the ESN net, but without a linked repeater network, do I need to find an ESN operator for every repeater on the network when we have an event going on? We have some repeaters out there that have very, very little activity.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that repeater won't be the location of a disaster.
Right.
You know,
We have some figuring out to do there.
we got some figuring out to do. So the ESN has been rendered ineffective for
And
the
for
most
those that
part.
don't know what the ERC.
Yeah, me too.
Wow, what is that? Is that in the burgers?
Maybe
I don't
too
know.
much pepper.
Yeah. The ERC net is. What is the ERC net? Dana, you want to?
The
Wanna throw
ERC and the ESN are two different things.
Dana's net.
The ERC net is the net that the church puts on.
Right.
The ESN net is the
ESN.
emergency standby net. The emergency standby net is the one that we operate when we have severe weather in the area, when we have, it's the idea is that if a disaster strikes, somebody needs help, there will be somebody specifically monitoring the network.
Right.
The ESN net is there so that we have a designated monitor who will answer any emergency calls.
Right.
It doesn't disrupt any other activities on the net. It makes all the network operations continue
They're
just
just listening.
as if they were normal. But we have a designated person who's going to be there and listen throughout whatever period of time. And he'll be relieved by another operator after X number of hours with a program and a schedule that we develop on the fly as an event unfolds.
Right. And we've come up with a list of all the counties, Dana did at least, of all the counties in our listening area where we thought we could be heard, and come up with the emergency contact information from them. Because when we talk on a linked network, we might hear somebody in chat that needs help, and we can help them by finding the local 911 number, basically.
And that, in a nutshell, is it. So we developed that network to be, something safety is critical for the region, and that's going to be effectively.
It's going to maybe cover 10 counties now, and that's about it.
11 and a half.
Okay, 11.
But yeah, so instead of covering the whole region, now we will make some efforts to expand that coverage by using multiple operators. It just becomes a lot more difficult to manage, and a lot more difficult to find volunteers for, and a lot more difficult to ensure that the volunteers that we found are doing what they promised they would do.
Right.
It's a bad thing. It's hurtful for the community. There's nothing like this in any other part of. You can't replace this. You can't say, well, you need to get an amateur license.
My wife is not getting an amateur license.
Right. And in what situation
Sorry,
do
hon.
we limit an emergency response only to those with an amateur license?
Right.
All right. So that response and that attitude, that arrogance that people have, it's time to get your technician's license.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's really not.
Well, you can if you want to. But
We encourage you to
we'll
do
help
that,
you,
but this should not be the reason why.
Right.
And the attitude that a lot of hams have that GMRS is not capable of doing the things that, well, obviously it is, and obviously it has. So I think that there's a lot of loss that's going to happen as a result of this, and I think that the FCC is going to have to take some responsibility for what they've done to this community in terms of GMRS. So this isn't a closed book, but our response is kind of limited. Let's break.
Dana wants to say something.
All right, Dana, what you got?
I was just going to add, from my perspective, monitor several different repeaters at the same time, which would make, when I'm covering a shift, I can do that. But we have net control operators for the ESN that are all the way up in Tennessee. So, I mean, they won't be able to do that. So there's some stuff to work out, but I think the program is definitely salvageable.
Well, that may very well be, but like I say, it's going to be impossible for it to be able to perform in the fringes like it has in the past. So, fortunately, we haven't had any major instances where the ESN has saved a life, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't have, and that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do to take that down. But like I say, our response to this is pretty limited. And so what can we do about it now? Well, as Gary pointed out in the letter, we could mount a legal fight with the FCC.
Yeah, could.
I think that even if the money were there, is that the best way to use it? To
pay lawyers?
To pay lawyers, yeah. Do we do that, or is there a better option, and that is that you and I and everybody that we can reach out to sends a letter to their congressman, to the FCC, and say, hey, look, this is what a linked repeater network does for me. It allows me to remain in contact with my family member that is a state away and 200 miles. It allows me to have assurance that if there's severe weather, that the National Weather Service can continue to provide information about what's happening in my area. It allows for extended communications with people that I've come to know as great friends. One thing that we've often, and I don't think hams understand this, one thing that we've often talked about, the difference between GMRS radio and amateur radio is in amateur radio you make contacts. In GMRS radio, we make relationships.
Yep.
And so breaking the network up has really had an impact on those people that speak every day to each other that can't do that now.
Right.
They're not going to be able to have that level of contact with one another. And, there again, it's the relationships. And I think that all the hams that are commenting around the country about what a shame it is that we use all 8 repeaters. Do you not understand how repeaters and PL tones work? I mean,
right.
I know that in amateur radio, we do a thing called coordination.
Right.
Okay? So your repeaters are coordinated, at least they should be. Your repeaters are coordinated so that when you're operating your club's repeater, there's some level of assurance that repeater isn't stepping on a nearby neighboring repeater. We don't have coordination in GMRS radio.
But the fact is, too, where we're sitting right now, there is no North Georgia GMRS repeater in our county. But there's 2 other ones, though, isn't there?
Yeah, there are.
That are not part of North Georgia GMRS, and they don't get interfered with.
That's right. Let's break. We'll come right back. So through the magic of radio and the magic of PL tones, these repeaters can operate and do operate within our footprint without any significant interference. Now, do they absolutely not receive interference? Probably not.
Right.
There are likely occasions where somebody's trying to use that repeater, like probably during Thursday night while this guy's unwinding. There's probably occasions where they try to use their repeater and are getting some intermod from our machine. There's probably occasions where they try to use the repeater, and because we have a repeater that's operating on the same frequency, as soon as the PL opens up, they may be receiving some of our traffic.
Right.
That likely
vice
does
versa.
happen. But is it blowing their repeater out of the water? Is it making their repeater unusable? As long as they've got a different PL tone set to their repeater, it should be fine most of the time. The only time there's going to be a real problem is if both repeaters are active at the same time. So let's talk about that. If we put all of the repeaters on the same two repeater pairs,
Which a lot of them has been saying, let's just use one channel or two channels.
well, now you have all your repeaters, if they're linked, they're active at the same time, and they're going to intermod
Right.
badly. That's not a workable. If you're an amateur radio expert, you should understand how that's going to work, but your solutions are just not viable.
Right.
It's just not. So the reality is very different than what you preach in many of your shows about what's going on in North Georgia GMRS. These repeaters do operate within our footprint without a problem. Though the idea that you cannot put a repeater up because we're on every frequency is wrong. You
Right.
can, and people do, and people have. Now, I'm also aware that people have been frustrated with their repeater. There was a repeater that was stood up in Alabama that suffered from our activity. They used the same PL tone that our repeater used on that frequency. And every time there was traffic on our network, their repeater lit up, and by golly, that was frustrating to them. Rather than reach out to us and say, hey, help me out here with this, what do we do?
Right.
They just griped and complained and filed complaints with the FCC, which took them years to come around to. If you really want a solution to something, reach out to the radio operator,
Right.
because the FCC is they're just not going to be the help that you think they might be.
No.
Reach out to that operator. Coordination is what you do in amateur radio. Cooperation is what you do in GMRS. And if you reach out to us, we'll do our best to help you make your system work. But if you just go around and complain and badmouth us, I'm not very interested in helping you if you're calling us bad things.
Right.
So, it's all about the relationship. In amateur radio, you make contacts. Here, we're interested in who you are and what you represent. And if you don't represent something that's positive, I don't have the energy for that.
Because the four guys that are involved in this now, I did not know 2 years ago. I didn't know anybody, any of y'all.
Yeah, that's right.
I had no idea.
Relationships.
So
Let's
now I'm
reset.
having dinner.
And so that's a part of it. We have long-lasting relationships, lifelong relationships in some cases. I've got people I don't see very often, but I hear them on the air and I talk to them regularly. And these are people that I expect to be there for a lifetime. I've got people that are many, many, many counties away
Right.
that I feel like I could send a text or make a phone call. And in fact, I did that here just a little while ago. I sent a text with a question to someone I haven't spoken to in months.
Uh-oh.
And I got an answer with detailed information very quickly.
Nice.
Great people that we work with
Right.
here. So I just want to say that in this environment, you should know your piece before you speak it, because
Well, I mean,
we're
somebody-
living it.
Yeah, some people just take everybody's comment and to try to pile it on. And well, it's this way. Now that we read one comment that's we use all 8 pairs and we saturate the whole market, and nobody can even stand up their own repeater or anything like that, which is fairly false.
So here's the thing we're going to watch. We're going to watch and see how many repeaters get stood up.
Right.
Now, No, we got one brewing in Chatsworth, I think, that they've already put an announcement out that they're going to stand one up on the same frequency that Fort Mountain was on.
And I think the other one is, well, you know, I don't want to hear two guys rag chewing from 2 counties away. What is radio for?
Every radio that I've ever seen has 2 functions on it.
On and off?
And?
Channel change?
Well, that's 3 then, because you can also turn them up and down.
Oh, there you go.
So, you know, you can change a channel. The argument is if you change a channel in GMRS around here, you're still going to hear us.
If you're on top of Mount Everest, yes.
Or Mount Olympus.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Dana can only get 2 or 3, so
right.
That's not even a universal truth.
That's true.
But in any case, well, hey, problem solved, because we're not on every repeater or every frequency anymore. The other thing I'd like to address is the rumors that are going around about letters going out to property owners.
I didn't get one.
Where our repeaters exist. We've talked to property owners where this rumor has come about, and that's just not true. And that's not how the FCC operates. If there's a problem with our repeater, they're going to contact Gary. They're not going to contact the property owner. They're not going to contact. They're not going to send letters to the city of whatever saying that, hey, this outfit's got a bunch of rogue repeaters. That's done and over with. And if you know the notice of violation is out there, there was no mention of any of these things about properties that are in peril, equipment being seized. None of that. All of that is imagination, rumor, and speculation. So if you hear things like that, I would invite you. Let's go ahead and reset.
Order by the IRS, because they're going to get involved in this for with us. $100,000 a year he's taking in on fees. The IRS is going to investigate it. They're going to do something about it themselves.
Well, there's an illegal operator right there, operating on a repeater without permission. So, and that's another thing we'll talk about.
Well, you didn't give a call sign.
We didn't hear a call sign, yeah. So we'll get into that here in just a moment. But back to the point of if you hearing stories about things that are going on related to us, go back to the NOV and look at what it says. It really only talks about the fact that we're linking. It doesn't talk about illegal power. It doesn't talk about repeater owners that are going to be cited. It doesn't talk about any of these rumors that are going on or out there. So it's all just noise. And this thing that Clarence just came on and rattled about, the idea that you are able to operate on the air for free, the airwaves are free. They absolutely are.
Right.
Clarence, you can operate your radio as much as you want to, as often as you want to, wherever you want to, except on someone else's repeater. That repeater is private property, and it requires permission to use that repeater. Now, you've had permission to use the repeater in the past, but you've abused it. You've abused your permission, and you've abused your rights to use the machine. You came on and chastised someone for using GMRS radio because they didn't have a license, when the fact is their license was covered under their family member who was on the air with them. How does GMRS operate? It covers your family. It's family communications. That's what that's specifically about. You're not operating within the rules or under the law, so you coming on here and talking to us about anything is just ridiculous. So knock it off. And
because it was a one-way communication for one, and no call sign, right?
And no call sign. So I think if anybody's going to get a letter from the FCC, we've got it on record that you're in violation. So there's no question as to who you are, and we very clearly heard what you said. It's going to be recorded, so we can replay it at will. We can investigate and analyze all we need to. So just absolutely jump in as often as you want to. If you want to be in violation of FCC rules. We're not. And your idea that it's illegal to charge for access to the repeaters is correct. You cannot charge someone to use the repeater. And that's not what we're doing. We're collecting club dues. Mm-hmm. You're joining the North Georgia GMRS network as a member.
Right.
And as a member, you get access to the repeaters. You get permission to use the repeaters. Now, that permission is basically available to That permission is basically available to everybody as a guest or as a
Right.
new user. We don't require that anybody
Traveler.
pay us to test whether or not you can get on or not. Let's go ahead and identify. WQYR 514, Atlanta 946. My name is Justin.
Atlanta,
Oh, sorry.
you good?
Yeah.
Atlanta 1150 WRZV 748. Tony.
WSAL 368, Atlanta 263, Rogers.
Atlanta 180, WSAM 231, Jim.
Atlanta 557, WRQ G806 Ed.
And Blue Ridge 33, WRWK 619, Dana up on Mount Olympus.
Atlanta 306, WFFR 920, George, Loganville.
Let's go ahead and get George
I
in the
don't
log
think we
there.
got George in the log, do we?
Let's get him in there.
What
George,
was
we got you. We're going to get you in the log.
306?
All
There
right.
he is. George, he did say he was in and out, so we'll just leave him in.
Yeah, that'll be fine. He's usually in and out, but we'll go ahead and do that. So let's see here.
Where were you? You were at cost. Yes, cost.
Cost. So on a nonprofit basis, with contributions to capital and operating expenses included in the cost of mobile stations and paging receivers, prorated equitably among all participants. So that's an FCC rule that talks about how GMRS cooperative use of GMRS stations. That is, I can't see the part number. Gary, can you text me the part number of what that rule is, so that we can look it up here?
Yes, let us look it up.
And that'll be a lot easier than trying to read a photo. Send that text to us. We'll get into that. But the FCC does specifically allow for the collection of funds to support the operation of a GMRS repeater. So a lot of people are thinking that we should be able to access the network for free. We invite you to. If you're
Right.
a guest, if you're traveling through the area, you're a transient user, if you are brand new to GMRS and trying to figure it out,
Seeing if you can hit a repeater, or if it works from your house to your daughter's house or whatever, right?
that's right. Yeah. So, and if you want to be able to establish whether or not you can make that contact over the repeater from your house to across the county to where your mother lives, or whatever the case may be. Absolutely, we want you to try and make that contact, make sure that's going to work. But if you're going to be a regular user, we expect you to contribute to the network. We expect you to contribute to the costs of operating the network. Now, why
Yes.
are the costs so high? My amateur radio club only charges $25 a year.
Right.
Some of them are $15 a year. I think is that what that used to be what Cherokee Amateur
No, I think
Radio
Cherokee's
Society.
20.
Is it 20 now?
I think it's 20
That's still
now.
pretty cheap.
Right.
I think that some charge as much as 50,
Right.
but 25 seems to be a real common number that I hear a lot. And I've seen where people have suggested that we charge $25 for access to the NG ARA.
Right.
Okay, so what does that $25 get you with the repeater club?
Well, wait, how many
typically?
what's the average number of repeaters per ham club?
Yeah, one or two.
Two at the probably most, right?
I
Maybe?
think that probably the Atlanta Ham Club and the Alfred Memorial will probably have a few more than that. I don't know
Okay.
what they have specifically,
Right.
but so 95-1705. He told me that already, and I forgot. He told me that already.
Pull it up.
There it is.
Oops, there it goes.
Cooperative use of GMRS stations. GMRS licensees may share the use of their stations with other persons eligible in GMRS, subject to conditions and limitations in this paragraph. And in part number 3, let me break. All right, after a reset. In 1705, section F, part 3, and subsection 2.
So F.
On a nonprofit basis with contributions to capital and operating expenses, including the cost of mobile stations and paging receivers, prorated equitably among all the participants. So basically what that means is we can't charge Tony $200 and charge somebody else $100.
I'd pay it.
It has to be equitable. So basically, the fee structure is set up on a per user or unit number basis.
Right.
It's about as equitable as it can be. If you are a single user, it doesn't cost as much as if you have your entire family involved. If you have your entire family involved, we expect that probably not everybody is going to be on the air as much as you are.
Right.
So it costs less to bring more people in to be on the air or have a TAC number in the network. So all of these things are allocated and allowed for specifically in Part 95 rules, just as they are in Part 97 rules. There's not a lot of difference except for a few of the specific words. But the idea that you cannot charge is false. The expectation here is that if you're a regular user, that you're going to contribute to the cost of operating the network. Now, what does it cost to operate a repeater? It's free, right?
Well, if it's in your neighbor's backyard, maybe.
If it's in your backyard and it's running on solar power and magic pixies and it never
solar.
takes any damage, then it might be free. Or if you're part of a club and you never understand what it takes to operate and maintain a repeater, you're never involved in going out to the site and cutting brush, cutting grass,
Right.
clearing things, clean up, making repairs to the building, making repairs to the tower, changing out guys, which is maybe a project coming up pretty soon at Flagship. Hey, all of these things are hugely expensive to do. Just to get somebody on the tower to start a project like that.
Well, there's the big thing, too, is on our commercial sites, since they're nonprofit, we have to have insurance.
Well, we do have insurance.
And that insurance dictates that we have to have a licensed climber. We can't hire Joe Schmo to climb the tower anymore.
And we can't use volunteers to climb either.
Correct.
Which keeps Gary from being able to climb himself. And, we've got members that are capable of climbing. But we can't really do that anymore because if something happens, and let's face it, there's a danger to climbing a tower. If something happens, who's going to be able to pick up that bill?
Right.
Let's reset.
Because I'm not sure if most of your ham clubs, some of them are not considered nonprofit. They're just an LLC or something like that. When they're not a nonprofit, then they don't have to worry about the insurance and stuff like that. And
Well, and even if they do have, even if they are a nonprofit and they're not, do they have an insurance? Do they have a general liability policy?
Right.
And do they follow all of the restrictions within it? So Gary is pretty much by the book when it comes to this stuff.
Right.
All right. So he has his very specific expectations and requirements for things, like the accounting for Vanguard. He's all the time he's on me about the expenses and making sure I keep accurate records and submit accurate reports.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, you pay for the electric bill and and stuff like that for the Vanguard, the studio we're in now, right?
Yes. So the general expenses have for the longest time been absorbed, by the members and whatnot. But the reality is that Vanguard does cost money to operate.
Right.
And so I have begun submitting for those expenses and calculating an equitable value for that is a bit of a challenge.
Right.
So we've had to go through and find different ways that we can calculate what is the consumption and what is the usage and things like that. So Gary has always been very, very picky about. I'm sorry, my throat is just a wreck tonight.
You're right. But yeah, Gary's covering.
But he's also very picky about following the rules.
Right.
Both with the FCC, with the insurance company, and everywhere else we go. If a property owner has very strict rules, we might not choose to operate on that property if it doesn't seem like we can operate within the rules. We've turned down invitations to various properties because of restrictions and things.
Right.
So, when it comes to costs, there is provision within the rules to allow us to charge a membership that you are an equitable contributor to the cost of operating this network. and that is within the rules. That is very specifically how that works. And
Because we are on some sites that are commercial sites.
and we have to pay rent
We
at
have
a
to pay
lot of our
rent.
sites. We have to pay for utilities. We have to pay for the internet, and we have to pay for the electric. Do we get to kill the internet at sites where we no longer have linking?
No,
Not
because we're going
necessarily.
to have remote access if the repeater needs reset.
And the site may still be linked with ARA if it's a dual located site.
Right.
So, we don't necessarily escape any of that.
And we just ask that anybody that finds the network beneficial to them or their family to help contribute.
That's right. So the idea that was floated that we charge on a voluntary basis, $25 a year, people would voluntarily send that in.
Right.
Otherwise, it would, if they choose not to, they would just have access to it. Well, that's how we started, and that's how Gary operated from 2006 when he first started up the NGGMRS until about 2017 when we first started with a formal method of charging dues for access to the network. So we did that, and Gary was out of pocket to the tune of around 10 grand a year because the donations just were very short of what the actual operating expenses were. If you feel like you need to know where the money goes and you need to have an accounting of what that is, reach out to Gary, sit down with him. He'll explain it all to you. But if you're gonna send nasty emails and threats and that you're gonna sue us or that you're gonna do this or you're gonna do that, forget it. That kind of language and that kind of behavior is just not something that we're gonna spend any energy on. Let's break. So if you can have a civil conversation about it, we're interested in having the conversation. We're pretty transparent in all that we do. Now, do we publicize our finances as a 501c3 is required to do? No, we don't. We're not required to because we're not a 501c3. We're not required
You mean
to
there's
be.
more than one nonprofit?
Well, when you register a corporation in the state of Georgia, right at the beginning of the form, you have to declare whether you're for profit or nonprofit.
Right.
So Studio B is it should be a nonprofit because it's never made any money. Studio B is a for-profit LLC. North Georgia GMRS is a not-for-profit.
Right. Meaning we're using up all the funds. And we have record of using up all the funds.
And there are records, and there are impeccable records. And so at any point, if we have to endure an IRS audit, we're fine. We've got no concerns there. We use professional accounting services, so there's really no gray area there. There's nothing that's being altered or hidden or documented.
Right.
Every check that's been written to any individual has receipts to back it up. There's documentation there so that, if there's ever any question about what the money was used for, there's a document that supports that. Either a receipt or an expense report or some method of defining how that money was allocated and used. So the idea that we be a 501c3 is incorrect. There's no requirement in Georgia that a nonprofit be a 501c3. 501c3 has to do with the IRS.
Right.
The state of Georgia doesn't require or expect it. And as far as the IRS goes, we have to pay taxes just like anybody else does.
Right.
Now, our taxes, you can offset your tax obligations by showing the appropriate expenses and things like that, and we do. It doesn't mean we don't pay taxes. It just means that we don't pay taxes on the income as though there were no deductions.
Right.
So there's operating expenses that get taken out as those are legitimate deductions. It's all on the up and up. So if you think that we're doing it wrong, I'm sorry, we're not. We're not doing it wrong, and we're not afraid of an IRS audit. We're not concerned with the FCC anymore. We are in compliance with Part 95 rules. There's no question anymore. There's no linking going on at this moment. In fact, even the folks that are coming into us through Google Meet that in the past had the opportunity to chime in at will, and they will be able to next week on the ARA net. They're using they're all using radios to access flagship for tonight's net. Let's
Right.
break. So with all of that, hopefully I've answered all of the questions that any of you have, and we'll.
I've
let's,
seen one in the chat.
is there one in the chat? Let's go to our RF check-ins.
well-
We'll come to the chat here in a little bit.
Well, no, the one that I saw was a TAC number. Somebody wanted to know, what is a TAC number?
Okay.
And why do we use TAC numbers?
All right. Well, and that's a good one because a lot of hams are unfamiliar with TACs. TAC numbers.
They attack, but they don't know what a
Right.
TAC number is. Okay.
So in the amateur radio world, your call sign is your identity. So
Right.
Kilo November 4 Hotel Yankee November is my amateur call sign, and that is in the amateur world how people would recognize me.
Right.
And same thing with Tony. He has an amateur radio call sign. I'm pretty sure I don't know what it is. So
Shh, don't tell him.
with all of that in amateur radio, your call sign is really your identity. But
Right.
in GMRS, your call sign is your family's identity because your
Correct.
GMRS license covers not only you, it covers your spouse, it covers your children, it covers your parents, grandparents,
In-laws.
in-laws, outlaws, siblings, step family members. Sorry about that. And so if we call out to a call sign in GMRS, who are we calling specifically?
Right. You don't know.
You don't necessarily know. So I might be trying to reach Shauna, as I often do, because, I mean, who wants to talk to Why Not?
Exactly.
And if I'm calling out to Tony's GMRS call sign, Tony might assume incorrectly that I'm trying to reach him when actually it's really his wife that I want to talk to.
Exactly.
So I would use Shauna's TAC number rather than Tony's TAC number if that were the call that I were trying to make.
Right.
Alternatively, I know that Shauna loves to talk on the radio, and despite her desire to interact with me, I might wish to speak with Tony, and so I can distinguish who I'm calling by using Tony's TAC number instead of Shauna's.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Okay.
is Shauna's TAC number?
1155.
55. And you are
I'm Atlanta 1150.
50.
50.
Okay.
'Cause
Rogers,
I have
what's your TAC number?
263 Atlanta 263.
Atlanta 263.
And then again, there's the other thing is we have Atlanta, we have Blue Ridge, we have Chat.
Who is Atlanta 250?
Nobody.
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 That's right. That's not
So is that
250.
tag number up for grabs now?
Is nobody.
250?
I think it is.
Who would?
Yeah.
I don't know if you.
Are we going to
would you want it?
retire? Are we going to retire 250?
It should be retired though.
You think
It's-
it- you think
it's
it-
respect on 250. It's respect, Dana.
What you got, Dana? I'm a break.
Yeah, I think it should be retired most definitely. And if I might add, Justin, everything that you're saying is perfectly 100% on point. Folks, if you're out there and you're listening to rumor, all I can say is
It's a great album.
that's a dead end. If you want to know something, any person that you see in these tiles right here, or Gary himself,
So we're walking on.
answer questions direct. That way you hear it from the source and not listening to rumor. I'm sorry I had to say that. Go ahead.
Very good, Dana. And, to that point, for all the activity that's out there with Clarence and everybody else that seems to be trying to interfere with, unsuccessfully interfere with tonight's net,
Right.
what is your point? We're in compliance with the rules, with all the rules. If you had if you contested the point of whether or not GMRS linking was allowed or not, that debate is over.
Well, maybe his big debate is we charge too much, or we're charging. So he thinks we all need to go to jail for
All right, well,
charging.
But that's allowed for in the rules.
Right.
So, I mean, if you can read, you should look at the rule yourself.
That
And-
tail might be the challenge.
Well, maybe it is. But in any case, for those that are not a part of North Georgia GMRS, or are out there watching us on YouTube, all of these things are things that you can research yourself. There's nothing here that we're hiding from.
Right.
And we have, for years, published the fact that we are linking on our webpage.
10 years. right?
And for years we have published the fact that what our frequencies and our PL tones are, so anybody can access the network. And we do this because we want people to find us. We want people to learn about GMRS radio and want to be able to promote GMRS radio. And we believe that we have effectively promoted GMRS radio to many, many hundreds of people who became GMRS license holders because they bought a bubble pack radio and they heard us on the air.
Well, like I said, that's how I found you. You guys were doing the Jeep Fest, and I heard I had just got a GMRS radio, heard all this clamoring going on, and I think I tried to reach out and couldn't, and I'm like, what is going on? So I Googled the website.
That's rude.
I know, they were a bunch of rude people. But anyway, Googled the website, and that's where I found the PL tones and all that, and away I went.
And it happens over and over again. So, the argument that I'm tired of hearing these two guys talking about how they butter their toast for half an hour on Thursday morning, that is how GMRS, that is the nature of the GMRS community. And if you don't like to hear that, you don't have to. You can turn your radio off.
Right. Or go to a simplex channel.
Or simplex. You can turn on your amateur radio because so many of you think that we all need to be technicians.
Right.
I got news for you. I'm not a technician. I'm not even a general.
Wow.
So figure that out.
Yeah.
45% of GMRS users are already hams. Already.
45% of how many?
Of, whatever our current membership numbers are. I don't even know what they are. 640 or something like that.
Right.
So, 45% of those are already licensed hams. Right. I think that's a pretty good representation of the amateur radio community and the fact that we have always promoted amateur radio in GMRS. Let's break. So all of that is to say, and here we go again with I don't know what your point is because we're not in violation of any rules. We are in compliance with all of the FCC rules. So I don't know what you're trying to achieve at this point, other than violating FCC rules, as so many people have declared that we are in violation of. So with that, let's go ahead and go to the roster. It's kind of late getting there. It's almost 9 o'clock.
I know. Sorry about that.
We might not have a lot of participation, but let's. You know what we didn't do?
We didn't validate the YouTube.
We haven't gone to the YouTube. We haven't confirmed that. I don't see the. There they are.
They're down there.
Okay. We do have George in the roster.
Yeah, put George in there.
Did we do our check-ins?
We didn't do a check-in.
We didn't do our check-ins. Let's see if we have any RF check-ins that would like to check in.
Well, maybe that's what the squelching was.
We'll
he was mad because we didn't get checked in.
Maybe. We'll go to our roster here in,
it's been a
in
weird night.
Just a few minutes. We'll go to our check-ins here. Anybody that'd like to check into the North Georgia GMRS regional net, please call net control.
I'll take 35. You got 34?
All right.
This is 858 Atlanta 90. Calling in a, I don't know what you say, Tyson wanted, Atlanta 79. He wanted to check in as a remote. This is.
I got it.
Go ahead and write that over, Tyson.
This is WRXM 345, Gainesville 43, and Winder, David, checking in. This is
I know you said write it over, Tyson.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll figure it out.
WRO in Duluth and by relay at
You want to get both of those?
Ernest Duluth.
849. Sound like it was a double there.
Yeah, I think there was. Yeah, it might have been intentional because there was no audio with the double.
Right.
All right. When we come back, let's ID.
All right.
All right, Bob, I understand you wanted to relay Atlanta 7-9, Michael, into tonight's net. So we've got him in here. He's checked in and out since he's a relay. Actually, we've got him in here twice. So, and that's fine. We kind of like having duplicates in a log. We've also got Gainesville 43, David in Winder. We've got you marked as in. Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth. We've got you in, and Atlanta 848, Ernest, also coincidentally, is in Duluth, in and out.
And there might have been another one right there, but we couldn't tell. If you're not
couldn't
hearing
tell.
your name there.
Yeah, if you didn't hear us call out in those 4 check-ins, go ahead and try one more time. We'll take one more break for check-ins. We'll have another opportunity for check-ins before we close the program.
This is.
That sounded like William.
This is Atlanta
420. Oh, I'm sorry, that was yours.
No, that's all right.
All right, William, we've got you in the log. We'll come to you here in a little bit. I didn't hear whether you're in and out or not, but we'll figure that out as we go. And then we heard a big, long dead key in there. Station, if you're trying to get into the net, there's no audio.
Right. Weak signal.
All right, with that in mind, let's go ahead and round out the log here with our YouTube check-ins, and then we'll go to the top of the roster. We have Gainesville 63, Willard and Homer checking in on YouTube. WSFW 755, Josh in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
Wow.
Was
Ohio.
it was the Pretenders.
Was it?
Yeah. What was that song? Oh, man.
You're the music man.
It was the theme song to the Rush Limbaugh show for the longest time. That bass line, Back to the City. Anyway, Cuyahoga Falls. It's a line in the song. We have WSNC 745. Dr. Trimlew is joining us on YouTube. WSMG 511. Marcus in Sugar Hill. Time to ID. WQYR 514, Atlanta 946. My name is Justin.
Atlanta 1150, WRZV 748. Tony.
WSAL 368, Atlanta 263, Rogers.
Uh-oh. I don't know where everybody else went.
WRQ G806, Atlanta 557, Ed.
All right, and we lost Dana, and Jim had to step away.
Okay.
He's got
work to do.
He's got fires to put out. So
thanks, Jim.
Important
Appreciate having
stuff.
you.
I think he'll be back. So,
okay.
And I think Dana will be back as well.
All right.
Just we'll see.
We're good.
All right. We've got the WSLR 713 Wayne in Enid, Oklahoma. We have Atlanta 1155 Shauna in Canton is watching us on YouTube. McDonough 22 Tim in Stockbridge also on YouTube. Chattanooga 190 Clifford in Culleoka. If I don't think about it, I can say it.
Yeah, I can't say it.
We have Atlanta 179 Bradley in Canton. Rome 12 Mark. That would be Mount Avery.
Avery's Peak.
Avery's Peak.
Avery's
That's
Peak.
right. Avery's Peak.
Hey, Mark.
Well, you know, he's a mountain of a man.
He is a big
is kind of what I was going for there. Mark is in Rome. Atlanta 123 Rhino under the bridge in Atlanta.
All right.
We have Atlanta 79 Michael in Woodstock checking in on YouTube, and he's got a relay check in on RF. WSNG 395 Ernest in Cleveland. We've got Atlanta 228 Ray in Canton. I thought I heard Ray early on. I think he got doubled on, but I thought I heard him checking in on RF. So Ray, I couldn't remember your TAC number. He's had like 3 of them since he's been a member.
Really?
Yeah. But Ray, we've got you in here. Chattanooga 6'9", the Velvet Elvis, Ronnie from Las Vegas. Atlanta 374, Lamar in Dawsonville. We have WSAI 254, Kai is checking in on YouTube. Glad to have you along. Atlanta 355, Damon in Canton. Atlanta 151, Russell in Cumming. Chattanooga 23, Aubrey in Cleveland. We have WRFE 208, Michael in West Tennessee. Kilo Romeo 4, Alpha Papa Sierra. Connie in Buford.
Well, that pepper's driving you nuts, isn't it?
It's got me good tonight. We have Atlanta 420, William in Roswell. That's Roswell, Georgia, not
New Mexico.
New Mexico. Now, I often think automatically that when we're talking about William, we're talking about UFOs. And
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, William is he is a mountain. He's like a volcano of words. And when he makes his Facebook posts,
They're pretty lengthy.
they're pretty
aren't they?
lengthy. Yeah, he has a lot to say.
Appreciate you, William. Though.
We've got a lot of. I haven't been able to read them all, so I've got some reading catch up to do. I'll be right back. But we've got lots of stuff there, and a lot of it's, from what I've seen, has been good stuff. William, you make some great points, but we're kind of past a lot of that now. So, it is what it is. We've got Atlanta 162 Mark in Marietta. We have WSNX 726 Lewis. I'm not sure where he's from. We have another amateur call, November 4 Tango Whiskey Tango, Heath in Rayburn County.
Comms Prepper 1 is his handle.
Fantastic. We've got that's Floyd. Is that Floyd City or Floyd County, Kentucky? Anthony, WRMJ 452 Anthony in Floyd. I'm going to say it's Floyd County. I saw Floyd County and I was thinking Floyd County, Georgia, but
yeah, it's Kentucky. It says.
And we've got Joey, Atlanta 175 in Buckhead. We'll come to you here momentarily, Joey. We've got a couple of them in line ahead of you. But with that, let's go ahead to the roster. Now, I know there's some YouTube comments out there. Ed's going to bring them to us here in a little bit. But let's go through some of our neighbors here on the flagship repeater and see if we have any comments out there. It looks like Philip is... No. We've got Roy Lee. Chattanooga 24, Roy Lee. Roy, do you have any additional comments for tonight's net? Thanks for making mention of the... I think he was the 9th county at that time.
No, he's number 10.
Number 10? Was he
was
number
number
10?
10.
So glad to have you along, Roy. Any additional comments tonight?
That wasn't Roy.
He's usually in and out. So, all right, I'm going to show Roy as being in and out because he often is. But thanks again, Roy, for your comments with regard to coverage in that
We're
county.
still terrible about the ins and outs.
We are. Atlanta 242, Philip in Dawsonville. Philip, do you have any comments tonight? All right. I did all that talking, and now nobody wants to talk back.
Right.
I get it. It's late, so sorry about that. Atlanta 242, we're going to show you as in and out and move on to Noonan 120 Carmine in Fayetteville. Carmine, he's got an awesome station down there in Fayetteville. I think that's going to be county number 11. He's down there in Coweta County. I believe that's Coweta County. Carmine, what county are you in?
I'm in Fayette County.
Fayette County. Okay.
Fayetteville.
All right, so that's like 12 then. 12 and a half? I don't know. We've got I would call this a really legit regional net because the coverage is more than just Cherokee County where we are.
Right.
So, Carmine, do you have any comments for tonight's net?
No, I think it was a good net, and I think you brought out a lot of good points, and hopefully people that are new in the network choose clear the air on this issue. They were listening and paying attention. I'm fortunate enough, I got a good radio and good antenna, and I can be flagship, so I'll still be able to talk to a lot of the people. I ain't going nowhere. I want to stay with it.
Well, that's great to hear, Carmine, and we ain't going nowhere either, are we?
Nope.
I think we're in it for the long haul. Nothing really changes as far as I'm concerned.
Nah.
My access to the network. If you want a linked repeater system, it's still available. You do need a technician or higher amateur license. That's unfortunate, but it's still available, and we do still have all of the repeaters within this network. So
Right.
our costs don't really change in terms of maintaining this network. So the idea that the repeater should be free now, we still got to pay rent.
Right.
We still got to pay utilities. I don't know how to make that work. The economics just don't play. So just because we've lost the ability to link these repeaters doesn't really change very much. And this was not a linked repeater network when it was founded.
And just like how you just saw with Carmine checking in, he's further south, way down past Atlanta.
Yeah.
So, people out there, you may have to do some tweaking. Hey, when I first joined 2 years ago, there was no Buckhead repeater.
Yeah.
I just had a flagship. So I had to tweak my station to get flagship from Dunwoody, from where my home is.
Right.
But, yeah, the network is still out there. I was just past Athens, Georgia today, 10 minutes past Athens coming in, and I still heard flagship.
Where were you when you made your check-in?
When I made my check-in, I was actually coincidentally passing exit 263 on going up 75.
Didn't you have a flat tire there?
I did. So I was like, here we go again with this 263. So that number is indelible.
You're not changing that TAC number, are you?
No, well, and and that's the thing. Carmine made an investment, and he did some research, and he learned what the best equipment he could put up with. And so he put up a very good antenna. He used very high quality heliax or coax. It's the Messi and Poloni.
Yeah. That's what I have too.
So he used the best that he could get his hands on to build his station, and his station performs very, very well. So you can keep trying Chinese radios, and you can keep trying Amazon
specials
stuff. Yeah. A lot of the antennas and stuff are so mislabeled on Amazon. Don't buy GMRS antennas from Amazon. If you need a GMRS antenna, Hobbit Communications is where I would recommend you go for a GMRS antenna. So that's another thing. People say, Gary can't advertise on the air.
Yeah.
Well, Gary's not here.
Right.
He's not here. So I can talk about Hobbit Communications just like I can talk about my Ford F-150.
Right.
Just like I can talk about, my favorite Kenwood radio. I can talk about Hobbit. I can also talk about chat radio. Let's break. So I think that chat radio is also an excellent source for GMRS radio equipment. Talk to Jim and tell him what you're trying to do. He will steer you into the best equipment that you are willing to pay for. Right. Jim's a great guy, and I can't knock him one bit. He is a former sponsor. We used to have his banner up behind us, but since we have Hobbit Communications now, there's a conflict there that we don't really want to deal with. So Jim Gifford's a great guy. Highly recommend chat radio. Highly recommend Hobbit Communications. I can talk about Hobbit Communications as much as I want to. However, Gary can't.
Right.
So, and he's not here. So I think we're good. Dana, do you see Gary?
No, Dana's not back.
Oh, Dana's not back.
No.
Ed, is Gary in the room with you?
I'm back. I'm just RF only.
Okay.
Break.
Hold on, break. We'll come to that here in just a moment. I'd like to get through these check-ins, and then
we keep
stick
getting off
around.
topic.
And we will. It will definitely. I would love to get you into the log. So there'll be an opportunity for you to make comments before we close, and definitely love to have you have your comments in here. Next on the list is Tom, CW33. Tom is usually in and out. Tom, are you there? Do you have any comments for tonight's net? All right, I'm going to mark Tom as in and out, and we're going to keep right on trucking. Atlanta 90, Bob. Bob, do you have any comments for tonight's net?
Yeah, I do. What do you want for the 150? We'll talk about that later. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I was confused about somebody's objecting about the money. Does that come up on a separate notion or something? And also, you know, the big hurricane that came up through North Carolina and South Carolina, and, you know, they needed communication, and I know those guys didn't have amateur radio license, technician license. I think, like you say, the fact that they're making people unlink GMRS, and GMRS is it's family-oriented, right, and it's survival-oriented. And you guys need to go ahead and write a petition or write a letter and let us all sign it, and we'll get a bunch of people to sign it to try to get that thing changed a little bit. WSOT 858, Atlanta 90, I'll be clear.
All right, Bob. Just had to step away for just a second, but it's Tony. But I appreciate those comments. And, yeah, I think we need to explore all the possibilities that are out there. Reach out to your congressman, blah, 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 and all that. So I think we're just getting started in that sort of thing. So I think you're right. I know I got into this for the sole reason because the cell network went down one day, and it got me thinking that I couldn't talk to my wife in Atlanta. So I explored the possibilities of how I could talk to her and get in contact with her if I need to. That's where I found GMRS. And I think that's what a lot of us, maybe not a lot of us, that's what I use it for, as a backup plan for cell phone and then I started enjoying the radio community a lot more. Like Justin said, met a lot of friends over the radio and now in person. And, that's what it started it all for me. But, I appreciate the comments, Bob. And you
comment.
Jeez. Was that Bob? That wasn't Bob.
I don't think it was Bob. All right, we got a lot of folks to get through here that checked in, and we want to get through this roster here. So hold your comments, please, until we get to that portion. Any additional check-ins, comments, or questions, we'll have an opportunity for that when we get there. So where are we at? That was Bob. So next on the list is Atlanta 164, Dan.
He was in, too.
Dan and Marietta. Dan, any questions or comments for tonight's Snap?
Yes, hello. This is Dan, WSGP 646, Atlanta 164. I would just like to reiterate that I got into this because I sort of have prepper tendencies, and I think it's just a total shame that the repeaters are not going to be linked. I think that's absolutely crucial for public safety. And I would like to, I think that a petition should be taken up, as others have said and will say, and send it to our representatives and, try to push this thing forward, because I think it's definitely a public safety thing. So that's all I have to say. I'm a strong supporter of this club, and I really enjoy listening to it, as does my wife, Julia. So that's all I have to say. Back to you, Net Control.
Good stuff, Dan. And, I appreciate that. And that's something we've been talking about, is trying to put together some kind of a canned message or a form message. I need to do some research and figure out how to do that. There's a way that we can generate a message where you can just plug in your name and your address and particular information into, and be able to automatically send that off to your particular Senate and congressional leadership.
Right.
Because yours might not be the same as mine. I don't know what the particular boundaries are for the various levels of leadership there. But I think that we'd love to see something like that come together. Maybe we'll just write something and post it so that you can copy paste and then be able to plug in your own information. Right. I'd like to see us all write something to our Congress, to both senators and congressmen, and also to the FCC. And I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if it's going to take. Maybe it's more than North Georgia GMRS. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of linked repeater groups that have shut their links down throughout the country.
Well, I'm sure Ed will comment too. There's 2 or 3 in the chat that say they're still running. big network.
That's fantastic. I'm pleased that they are, and I hope that they're able to continue for a long time. I'm not going to make any mention.
Right.
But that's fantastic. I'm really pleased to hear that, and I hope that they're able to continue and successfully operate until we can maybe get some legislation in front of Congress and hopefully get it passed. So, all right. So with that, let's continue on. Thank you, Dan, for those comments, and Bob, I heard your comments too about making letters and trying to do some sort of a petition or a campaign. Next on the list, we've got Atlanta 532 Tom in Flowery Branch. Tom, any comments?
Did we lose Tom?
Just throw my support in there. You know, we're a good group of people, and a couple of naysayers bring us down, but, you know, and they can't. They'll just keep going. So everybody out there, I'll be clear. Back to you, Net Control.
All right, Tom. Thanks for your support. And, you know, I've seen a number of members that have already thrown in their renewal. And, you know, that's a big vote of confidence to get at this time. So for those of you that have done that, thanks for that. And, you know, as far as, you know, people asking for refunds, refund for what? We're still here.
Right.
Nothing's really changed. You don't have the link anymore, but your local repeater is still there and still operating. So that's one thing. The other thing to consider is North Georgia GMRS is a nonprofit. We've already spent your money. There's nothing to refund. So if for some reason you think that, all right, well, this doesn't meet my needs anymore, hey, thanks for your contribution, but that's what it was. You contributed to the network in a meaningful way, and we appreciate that contribution. We understand that North Georgia GMRS might only be a phase for you.
Right.
And for a lot of people, they become members for a year, and then they're gone.
They realize they don't use it as much as they thought, and then...
And a lot of people are just listening.
Yep.
Right? They're just monitoring, just listening. There are way more... The number of members in our roster is a lot greater than the number of people that show up in our log every week.
And
right, so there's hundreds of people that monitor that never come on the air
never hear
and
at
speak.
all.
So,
but when we hear a lot, Tom, what county is he in?
Yeah, Tom, what is your county?
Trying to get a county count.
I am in Hall County.
I think that's a new one.
All right, so that's Hall County.
That might be number 12.
Is that 12 or 13?
I don't know.
That's probably 15. Let's call it 15. We're 15 counties, and this is just like the log. The truth doesn't really matter, does it?
Right. There's no auditors.
All right. So, yeah, we're just gonna claim whatever region we can claim. I tell you, if you look at the coverage map for flagship,
right,
it's massive.
Right.
It's massive. It really is big. So, yeah, I'll have to have Gary run that again with maybe a county overlay and see if we can see what the actual coverage is. Next on the roster is Atlanta 410 Ted in Talking Rock. Ted, do you have any comments or questions for tonight's net? All right, not hearing from Ted. I'm going to show him as in and out. Maybe he was to begin with. I'm not sure. We'll move on to Gainesville 42. Ben in Gainesville. Again, I'm going to show Ben as in and out. Thanks for your check-in. Atlanta 145, Andrew in Scottdale. All right, Andrew is also in and out. Atlanta 242. Did we already call on Philip? We did, didn't we? Yeah, he's
Might
up
have.
there at. We showed him.
I'm
in
very
and out
bad for the in and out.
Yeah.
I forget to check it.
Yeah, me too. Philip, are you there? Atlanta 475, Kimball incoming. Are you out there? Do you have any questions or comments for tonight's net?
Yeah, I'm here. Atlanta 475 WSJP208. Just appreciate all you guys do and enjoying listening. I'm checking out.
Outstanding. Thank you for your comments, and thanks for hanging out with us
Appreciate
tonight.
it.
Next on our list is Atlanta 245, Thomas in Powder Springs. Tom, do you have any comments for tonight's net? All right, we're going to keep right on trucking with Atlanta 175, Joey incoming. Joey, any comments, questions?
This is Joey at WSNK 260, Atlanta 175. Earlier this week, and I've been loving that thing. I was up near Talking Rock between Tate, Georgia, and make contact with. It was a little scratchy. I feel if I find the right spot with the Buckhead repeater from all the way up there. I think it was Atlanta 208 or 8280. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Good stuff. Well, you know, that Buckhead machine is, I don't know if I have any pictures in the folder there. I'll have to make sure I get some put up there. That is one of the cleanest installs.
Since we got to go around them all, we maybe ask for new pictures.
We'll have to get some photographic evidence that the linking devices are no longer there.
Well, that's not where I was going, but still. Wouldn't me, Gary.
You know, Buckhead will have the Raspberry Pi because it's also an ARA site. So
right.
Yeah, that's a great machine. That's a great location, and we're so fortunate to have been able to locate where we are there. And we're hoping that the guy's name is Shane. Shane, if you're listening, thanks for letting us locate there, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to locate the next location that you're helping us with. So, Shane, thanks for that. That's very cool. Joey, I'm glad to hear that the Buckhead site is working out well for you, and it's great to be able to access more than one repeater. Mm-hmm. And as time goes on, we're going to find that that's more and more important. You know, there's always a possibility that a repeater might go down for one reason or another.
Right. Lightning. Power.
Yeah, we've had some power issues at Flagship. I think we're around the corner on that. So we've got a really, really good battery backup system there that should bridge whatever we need until the generator can come on. Now, it seems we have an issue with the generator there, but I think that's going to get resolved. So we should be back in action with all the backup that we've come to rely on with Flagship. So that'll be good stuff. But I'm glad you're enjoying the network, and you know, there again, I think this is an opportunity to begin to learn to relay some contacts. So if you can make contact with somebody and you know they have access to more than one repeater, you might be able to pass messages to friends and family that way. Right. So bear that in mind, and I think that's an exercise that's worth practicing, much like the Friday night Simplex challenge. You know, we may need to start doing some relay challenges just to be sure that that you can practice the craft. Because if you don't know that you can make that contact when something happens and you really need to, you might not even think to do it.
Right.
But if we practice doing that, we learn what we can and cannot do, then we know more about what our radios can help us accomplish during the time of need. So for those of you that are into this for preparedness, I highly recommend we engage in some relay activities. I think Dana's going to try to organize something here. Let's see if something more formal comes out of that. Appreciate your comments, Joey. Next, we have Atlanta 151 Russell incoming.
No, Russell.
All right. We're going to mark Russell as in and out, and we're going to keep right on going. Atlanta 306 George in Loganville. George, any comments or questions for tonight's net? All right, we're going to mark George as in and out and continue on with Gainesville 43. David in Winder.
Gainesville 43. The only thing I've got, some great comments tonight. I appreciate everything y'all do. But has there been any thought about reviving a Zello channel, not for connection to RF, but just for another place for people to communicate?
Well, to be honest, no. I don't think we've talked about really Zello at all. I'm not sure what options even exist with Zello. So there was some talk that we might have a GMRS opportunity with Zello here some time ago. But now that linking is off the table, that probably is as well. As far as setting up Zello as just a private unlinked, just a Zello channel.
Right. It's a network, right?
Yeah. As long as it's not connected to a repeater, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, because back in the day, I was a part of a Florida severe weather Zello. Mm-hmm. Even though I don't live in Florida, but I would monitor it, and this was well before I even had a GMRS license or anything. It's just, everyday people just getting on and talking. Like, I don't think many of those people had radio licenses.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the nature of Zello is you could just get on there and talk, and anyone can form a group.
Yeah,
so,
but didn't they change their business plan or something a little bit?
Zello
did?
What they changed really disallowed us from being able to use Zello as a part of North Georgia GMRS, unless we wanted to be a commercial customer, and the commercial prices would have added a tremendous amount to annual dues. Would have not doubled, but it would have been a tremendous addition to annual dues for us to join Zello as a commercial user. So that was pretty much chalked off as not really an option. As long as we had free access to Zello and it didn't impact, user costs.
Right.
It was basically the price of a Pi and a computer and a radio. And so with that, it was pretty easy to absorb those costs. But when Zello decided that they wanted to change their model and push us into a commercial account, that became something that we just weren't going to go down that road. So, but as far as what David I think is asking for, in terms of just setting up, and David, I believe you're also involved with the ERC, and this might be something that they would have an interest in as well. It might be excuse me. Oh, that snuck up on me. I'm sorry about that. That might be a great idea in terms of setting up a separate communications channel to be able to maintain contact with those that are outside of the region for flagship. So I think that's a great idea. But the answer to your question is no. We've not really talked about it until just this moment. So we may put that on the itinerary and take a look at that. Now, in terms of being able to access a network by way of a computer or a phone, let me break. That's coming. So if you want to be able to get into a linked repeater network with something that behaved a lot like Zello, we're going to be introducing EchoLink sometime. Probably, I don't know that I can really put a date on it, but if I were going to, I'd say first quarter of 27.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, don't confuse everybody now. It's not on the GMRS side.
That's right.
It'll be one more time. It's not on the GMRS side.
EchoLink is a ham radio feature that does not support GMRS radio. So, but EchoLink will be available on the ARA network coming up sometime early. I think. Well, Gary may surprise me, but I think it'll be sometime in the first quarter of 2027. So, be on the lookout for that. Hopefully that will satisfy that need. David, thank you for your comments and for your support. Appreciate you being there. Next on the list is Atlanta 849, Pamela in Duluth. Pamela, any questions or comments for tonight's net?
Well, good evening, gentlemen. Thanks for allowing this one single lady to get out there and talk tonight. Yeah, I wanted to say there's a lot of information to take in, and a lot of new members or people that hadn't listened for a while probably listening and learning some things they weren't aware of. So it's a good thing you've got this going tonight. I wasn't for sure because somehow my volume got turned on my radio down, and we couldn't hear anything at first. But the announcement, sorry, I changed the date on it, but I forgot to change the beginning of it. But you figured it out and did a good job, and sorry your throat's bothering you tonight. And I just want to say thank you to those that came to our lunch. We had 3 new members at the Peachtree Corners Brunch Bunch, and it was good to hear them on the radio tonight. So we thank you for that, and I think that's all unless you got questions for me.
All right, well, good stuff, Pamela. I'm glad you had a great turnout at your luncheon. No, as long as I got your dates and everything right with the announcement, then that's fantastic. I hope that I can make it to another one. I don't know.
My comment is, I want a lot of people, maybe on YouTube and even the RF side, these aren't like sanctioned North Georgia GMRS sponsored events. These are events that these people started on their own, wanted to put together to have a bunch of people to come together to have lunch and just socialize and meet face to face.
Absolutely. So, it's a grassroots kind of a gathering that Pamela has formed one up herself. I think that Pamela had attended several of the luncheons throughout the region and decided, hey, this is kind of cool. I want to do something like this.
Right.
And so, it took some time. I think that her attendance was very low for the first several times, but, consistency and advertising, I think, makes the difference. And so now she has a great turnout and a pretty good following for her event. I don't know what the turnout is at Ed's event. I'm not sure that Ed even knows. And I don't know specifically what the turnout is up in Chattanooga. I think they get a handful of people each time, and it might not be the same guys every time. Maybe there'll be a few more this time because, like I say, in Chattanooga, tomorrow will be your opportunity to learn about what the thoughts are or any suggestions that you might have for Skywarn on GMRS in that area. Does it make sense to continue Skywarn on a single unlinked GMRS repeater? Is there a repeater that has the kind of coverage that Skywarn really needs to be effective in that area? It's really a difficult issue, and hopefully we can come up with a solution that works to continue providing the National Weather Service with storm spotting information relevant to that region. So Pamela, thanks for your contributions there, and we're going to be making some changes going forward, but I still hope that you'll continue once monthly appearing with the announcements. Maybe going forward it'll be easier to just do it on RF instead of messing with Google Meet, because we have some restrictions now in Google Meet. We can still put your picture up there, but we cannot pass audio by way of Google Meet because I think that's plausible. I believe that would be considered a form of
network linking.
And so that's why we've asked the guys that are contributing on Google Meet to use their radios to participate tonight on the air. Next week on the NGARA net, we'll go back to the old method because there's no foul there. So I think we'll just have to adapt going forward. And, we're just trying to do the right thing everywhere that we operate. Let me break. So thanks again, Pamela, for your comments. I want to go next to Atlanta 420, William in Roswell. William's had a lot to say.
Yes.
And I think that William is offended by what took place. However, don't take any of this personally, William.
Nah.
This isn't a dig on who you are or what you are or nothing like that. This is just the government doing what the government does, right or wrong. They've made the rules, and we're going to follow them. So, William, any questions or comments for tonight's net?
That is true. That is true.
I think William's been listening all night, and his battery's dead.
Might be.
Yeah, we heard you come on and say that is true, William, and then you dropped out. I wonder if it's your battery. All right, well, William's trying to figure out his battery. I'm going to see if I can scroll down here and figure out where we're at with Google, with YouTube check-ins. And it looks like we've got a couple of new check-ins. We've got WRQE 466 from Warner Robbins. We have Gainesville 33 Kevin in Gainesville. And we have Rome 43 Bill in Cave Springs. Those are the additional YouTube check-ins. While we're waiting for William to change his battery, Ed, do you have any comments from the YouTube chat that you'd like to bring to the air?
Ed, are you listening?
Great net.
I don't think Ed heard you.
Atlanta 557. You.
Ed.
You. Ed, can you hear us?
I'm still here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Ed, do you have any questions or any comments from the YouTube chat that you'd like to bring to the air?
No, I think we hit them all as we went through. A lot of, positive comments about what the network has done for people and people that are supportive. And the rest of the comments I think we've already addressed.
All right, very good stuff. Well, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and call out for any additional check-ins, any late check-ins, any questions or comments. Now, I know there were a couple of attempts at comments along the way, and I hate to interrupt the flow of things because people have checked in and are waiting for their turn, and it's kind of like cutting in line when you want to comment your way into the middle of the net. We do have a format here. Now, if you have an emergency going on and you want to comment in for that, I would hope that you would, instead of saying comment, say emergency.
Right.
but in any case, for the nature of this net, we generally don't interrupt for comments in the middle. I know that you may have had a point that was relevant at the moment, but all of these points are relevant throughout the endurance of the net. And if you want to go back and circle back to something we've already talked about, I would invite you to. If you still have questions about anything that I've said, you can send an email to justin@nggmrs.org if you'd like to have a private response to some of the things that we've talked about. And if you want to hear it from the boss's mouth, send that same email to Gary@nggmrs.org. If you got questions about how we operate, whether something is right or wrong, if you don't understand the rules, if you don't think that what we're doing complies with the rules, rather than debate it amongst yourselves or argue about it with people that don't know anything, go straight to the source. Send Gary an email or make a phone call and, get to the bottom of it the right way. And if you still don't believe it, you still don't trust it, you still don't think it's right, well, that's something that we can't really help you with.
Right.
But we're going to make every effort all along the way to be... Is that a mosquito? I'm being attacked. We're going to make every effort to be in compliance in all forms with the IRS, with the FCC, and any other alphabet agency that's out there that has jurisdiction over what we do. We're not here to run roughshod. We operate in compliance with the rules, and we have, and we continue to, as we understood them in the past, as we understand them now, and we're not going to knock it off just because everybody else is, or just because somebody said, hey, that's illegal and you can't do that. Show me the rule, because I don't believe it. I don't interpret it that way. I don't see it that way, and I don't think it's correct, and I still don't think it's correct. Right. Even right now, I don't think that the FCC meant that there should be no internet linking of GMRS repeaters. I think that rule in its original form was all about a phone patch, and we're not doing a phone patch. We're not doing anything of that nature. Let's break. So with all of that in mind, I am confident that our interpretation of the rules was correct. However, now that the FCC has sent us the letter that we asked them for 16 months later, we're going to comply. And we're going to continue to do the right thing wherever we can. So with that in mind, any additional questions, comments, late check-ins? Net Control, standing by.
This is
USNX 726.
What was it, 76?
WRYR 434 Atlanta 179 on base and monitoring.
Atlanta 179.
This is.
Come on, people. You guys can do better than that.
This is WRCT 399, Atlanta 261, Scott from Holly Springs. Just want to say thank you, Net Control. Thank you, gentlemen. We will be around. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Comment Atlanta 37.
37? Bill said he.
Net Control 317. Here, copy.
All right, David, was that you trying to make a comment?
Yes, sir.
All right, I know you've been trying to make that for a minute. So let's go ahead with your comment. And I'm just one moment, though. I want to go ahead and acknowledge Atlanta 261, Scott and Holly Springs. Thanks for your comments, Scott. We will be here as well. Nothing really changes. Also, I've got Atlanta 179, Bradley and Canton. I've got you marked as in. And Atlanta 379. Pamela, stand by for your comment. In fact, I'm going to give you the last word. So just hang out with us, and we'll get to you just before we close. David, go ahead with your comment, please. Atlanta 317, go ahead with your comment, please. Where'd he go? Atlanta 317, go ahead with your comment, please. I'm not sure what happened. We did hear you, David, and I don't know where you're at now, but we did hear you. So I'm going to try you one more time before we close things out. But for now, let's go to Atlanta 179, Bradley and Kent. Do you have any questions or comments for tonight's net?
Nothing besides saying you guys are doing a wonderful job. You even got listening to you guys as I was coming back on 75 from Chattanooga. But I just want to say to any of the members listening, I wouldn't get too on the linking side of things. We are we are all still going to be here. So always a pleasure hearing you guys on the net. You're doing a wonderful job.
All right, good deal, Bradley. Hey, I know that you sent me an email that somehow I lost track of and didn't respond to you for the longest time, but I did respond in the last week or so. So if you haven't seen that, go ahead and take a look for that response to the email. And sorry that it took so long to get back to you. I don't know why I lost track of it, but I did, and that's on me. But look for that response and see what you think. Atlanta 849, do you have a closing comment?
Well, yes, Justin, thanks, guys. Doing a good job as usual, and I kind of here, but they figured out what I can put at my tab, the announcement on the other computer. But anyway, we're all going to be in this. We're all in this together, like I responded on when the notice came out. And I wanted to know if when I'm out, and I usually do flagship, will I be able to switch to Buckhead when I need to? And before you answer that, I just want to let you know that I will be posting quite a few pictures from Saturday's lunch. Quite a few things happened, and I think people enjoy seeing that. Takes me time to do it because I do captions with it, but it will be coming out with some really good pictures. And thank you for everything tonight, and back to y'all.
Reply, Justin?
Stand by, Bradley. Pamela, thank you for that. And yeah, definitely want to see those pictures. I understand it probably takes a little bit of time to sort through them and get rid of the ones where people are picking their nose or looking the wrong way or have a mouthful of food or things like that.
And I think if that brings up a good point, that if you have made a friend via another repeater that's now not linked, join Facebook, get on the group, and you can still talk that way.
Yeah, that is another option. Yeah. So as far as and as Pamela was talking, well, she's out driving around, and she's checking in periodically with Ernest and having conversations with the many that she does chat with while she's out and about.
Right.
Once you transition over to Buckhead, and I don't know that you can pick it up from Duluth, but if you can, then Ernest would also need to move over to Buckhead with you in order for you to maintain that connection. So I would imagine Flagship would cover you for most of what you do, but if Buckhead is also a good repeater, you can certainly switch to it, and anybody that's on Buckhead will hear you there. So it's just a question of who's there and when.
Right.
And so I think that we're going to see some of these repeaters become far less active, and according to some of the naysayers that don't seem to know how to operate a radio by turning it off or changing the channel or the volume control, these are complex operations, and not everybody is capable of it. So
we didn't have to take a test.
Yeah. So if that's the challenge that you have, and you had too much traffic on your radio, congratulations, because now the repeaters will be far quieter, and fewer people will hear the activity on the radio and be drawn into that, and fewer people will pursue a GMRS license in interest of what they were hearing. I think that's a reality. But Pamela, as far as your travels go, I hope that they go very well. And I think that switching over is viable. I don't know if you have coverage into Buckhead from home or not, but that would be something to look at. And if you don't have it, maybe you can make some improvements and get there. So I know Ernest has been making improvements for quite some time now. Bradley, go ahead with your follow-up.
Is there a preferred file type that you would like that in?
A preferred what?
File type.
I think a PNG would be anything that can vector. I think is what we're looking for, because I'm going to send that off to a printer, and they're going to make whatever changes they need to make it fit into the size that they need. So if it's a vector graphic, then they should be able to do that pretty easily. I think that all of the vendors that I use for that are capable of working with the vector graphic. Things like BMPs and I think even some PNGs are not necessarily vector graphics, but that's really what I think that the printers want, is something that is a vector graphic. For those that are wondering what on earth is he talking about,
we don't know half the time. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What?
So I occasionally have stickers made up for various events, and Bradley was going to look at designing up some graphics for some stickers.
Oh, okay.
For
Cool.
For some events coming up. So
Nice.
I love to be able to pass that stuff out. So would like to have something on hand. We've got some time to design it, and so he'll put something together. We'll go from there. So hopefully that answers your question. Otherwise, we'll track it down by way of email. I want to try one more time to see if David can come back with his comment. Atlanta 317. David, are you there?
I just totally lost him, man.
One last try for Atlanta 317, David. Trying to get your comment.
William on YouTube said he got walked over. It wasn't as bad.
Okay. All right. No response from Atlanta 317, unfortunately. So hate that. Wish that we could have gotten your comment in. But apparently others would prefer to run the show.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out from there. So with that in mind, we're at the end of the roster. We've taken additional questions and comments. I've probably ticked off a few people with some of what I've said, but
it's not the first
hey,
time.
you don't have to like it. It is. There's a lot of things about this topic that I don't like.
There are multiple repeaters in this area available for you to use.
There are. And, if you really don't want to pay to support North Georgia GMRS, you can pay for your own repeater. That's an option.
Repeaterbook.com. Go look.
Yeah.
GMRS is on there.
Yeah, and several people have put up a tower, and it's not outside of the realm of possibility. You can build your own tower, you can install your own equipment, and maybe you don't need a tower. Maybe you can just put an antenna on a mast and have a repeater.
Right.
Maybe you're fortunate enough to live on a ridge line, and you can set that up, and it'll perform, really well. But even if you don't, even if you just put 20 feet of mast up, attach it to the gable end of your house, and let that thing just stand just above the peak of your house, you're still going to get coverage within your very local area.
Mm-hmm.
The higher you can get it, the better, obviously. So if you don't have the means to put up a tower, and not everybody does, you don't have to go all in like that. But it's a get what you pay for scenario. So
Right.
if you're going to put up a $500 system, you're going to spend $200-$400 on a radio, on a repeater, a couple of bucks on some used coax, and throw some kind of ratty antenna up. You're going to get what you pay for. So obviously that's not how we operate. We're using commercial grade equipment. We use nothing but the best. We repurpose heliacs whenever we can, it costs money to do things the right way. But when you do things that way, you have repeaters that perform very well and might seem like they're running illegal power, but they're not. So there you go.
Are we on my GMRS?
We probably still are, but
I don't think all of them are listed there, are they? Or maybe? I don't know.
My GMRS is kind of I don't know that it's really actively being updated.
Right.
I think that it's being overrun by bots, and so there's a lot of fake entries there. There's a lot of dead entries there. There's a lot of repeaters that are listed that have been off the air for years. So Repeater Book is what we.
Right.
If you want to know where our stuff is, go to Repeater Book. That is a verified source. So let me break. that would be your best bet in terms of being able to look up and reference what repeaters are near you. Repeaterbook.com is the reference that we generally recommend.
And I think there is a caption on the end, whether it's open or I don't know what the term is. It's not private. It's
closed. Open or closed. Yeah.
And those closed ones, you might be able to get on, but you're going to have to email the owner and ask for permission.
Yeah.
We're not the only ones on there closed.
That's right. That's right. So a repeater is basically it's private property. Someone owns that machine, and the use of that machine is up to the owner. So if the owner chooses to make it open, then you don't have any questions or concerns about getting on it. You can just use it because you've been granted permission by the fact that it's open. Yep. If it's closed, that doesn't mean you can't use it. It just means you need to have specific permission. That permission may require
a donation.
So if that's the case, then you have a decision to make. Hey, we understand that North Georgia GMRS isn't the bag for everyone.
Right.
There's no requirement that you join North Georgia GMRS to participate in GMRS radio. Simplex is wide open for anybody and everybody. You do have to have a license, but you don't have to have a membership with any club to use Simplex radio, whether it's in amateur bands or in GMRS. If you want to use a repeater, then the respectful thing to do is to reach out to whoever owns and operates that repeater and ask for permission. The response, you might not get a response. Maybe they don't care.
Right.
You might not get a response, and in which case I would suggest you use the repeater until someone asks you not to or asks you to donate. In that case, that's up to you what you choose to do. If the repeater is closed, then obviously the intention is that there's some gateway to access to that machine. There may be a way for you to use it, and maybe they intend it to only be for family use or farm use, or in some cases, there are some grandfathered commercial licenses out there.
But you know what? I travel a lot for work, and I've probably emailed maybe half a dozen or up to a dozen different repeater owners. And 100% of the time they say, yeah, it's fine for you to use. Sometimes they'll even email me back and say, hey, here's the updated PL tones. Because they may not publish them online. So I've never had any problems. Just traveling through and trying out different repeaters.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if I were staying there and, it's a common thing, every other day, yeah, that may require a donation. But just traveling through, most of the time you're not going to have a problem.
Yeah. Right. And, some people have got the misguided idea that we expect a donation from anybody and everybody that ever touches a repeater. And that's not true either. Let's break. If you're a transient user, the expectation for transient users is always open. So if you're traveling through the area and you want to converse with some of the people in the region as you travel, the repeaters are open to you for that purpose. If you're a guest user, you're brand new to GMRS, or you want to check into one of our nets, we expect the repeater to be open for that purpose. You can check into any one of our nets.
With a valid call sign.
That's right. You have to have a valid call sign. We can't break the FCC rules, but you have the call sign. Check into any of our nets, and you'll be welcomed and acknowledged. And unless there's some fools out there that are stepping all over you, then I don't know what to do. So the idea that somebody has the right to overcome what we're doing here is nothing but an FCC rule violation. So these people that think that they have some justice to convey, look, if the idea was that we're breaking the rules by linking, hey, guess what, you fools? That's over. Right. That ship has sailed. So continuing to do this is nothing but malicious. And for that, I've got no grace, none whatsoever. So with that, this concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we had a total of, what was it, 80 minus 6, 74, 75.
75. Let's save 75 check-ins on a net. Do you think there's any other net in the country that had 75 check-ins?
No, there might be, but
you think?
Do they have the kind of content and humor?
I don't know that they have the 60 to 70 a week.
There's only one net that I know of that has a why not.
Is it? Who's that?
Why not?
Yeah.
Tony?
No. Well, you said you knew another net.
There's only one net that I know of.
Oh, one net you know of.
That would be
Okay.
this one.
Why not?
Why not?
All right. You want to give a comment to those two if they want to comment?
Do you have anything to close with, Dana or Ed?
No, just thank you all for joining tonight, and we'll see you next time. WRQ G806 Atlanta 557.
And my apologies for my brief departure before I had a power outage and my battery backup did work. So I had another one and got it installed real quick. Hey, appreciate the check-ins, and Justin, Tony, and Rogers, great job. We'll see y'all next week. WRWK895, Blue Ridge 33, and I'm clear.
There we go.
Net Control will now be returning the repeaters back to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Give us a share so others will see the YouTube live stream. Remember, comments on YouTube videos show engagement with the video and help the channel grow. Tune in next week on any North Georgia Amateur Radio Association linked repeater, because we can link on amateur radio.
Oosh.
Or on the YouTube live stream. What are we talking about next week?
Next week,
it was supposed to be football this week, but we didn't.
We didn't do football.
We didn't do football. So let me.
Yeah, that's a good question, though.
Let me see if I can find.
know.
There we go. There's the calendar. So that's going to be what, week 30. Jeep Fest is really a GMRS thing. So well, let's go ahead and jump into.
Oh, that's not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. You just
well,
gonna make up a topic?
We're gonna figure it out on the fly. So if you have a suggestion for a topic for next week's North Georgia Amateur Radio Association, send an email to justin@nggmrs.org, and we'll add that to the pile. And Rogers, do you?
You want? I think Ed is trying to talk.
Ed, do you have a suggestion for next week's topic?
No, I don't. But I just wanted to see if announce to folks, because I know we kind of went out of sequence here, but we're still going to have every other week nets. So next week will be ARA. In 2 weeks we'll go to GMRS and go back on that bi-weekly schedule, correct?
That's right. Nothing changes. We're here for the duration, and this rule change that we've adopted doesn't really change anything about the way that we operate. I hope that we've addressed all of the questions that are floating around out there and some of the rumors. And
I doubt it. They're still gonna. There's haters.
The haters are going to hate, and I don't know what to do for that. They're just going to have to get over themselves and find something, because whatever they had, we've resolved. That's done now.
Right.
And whatever you think you have, you're just wrong. So look it up. I mean, the information is out there. The state of Georgia doesn't require a 501c3. That's an IRS thing. And the IRS doesn't care how you file your taxes as long as you file your taxes.
Right.
So the idea that you have to be a 501c3 is incorrect. You're going to have to come up with something better than that. But to throw interference at the net or at any particular user is, in fact, an FCC violation, and I've got no grace for that. None whatsoever. That is just despicable. So let me finish with closing. We don't know what we're talking about next week, which is true most weeks. Be sure to participate in the Friday Night Simplex Challenge on the Monument Repeater, and if you have an amateur license, be sure to join the Simplex Challenge on the N4KHQ repeater. And don't forget Saturday night sessions on the North Georgia Amateur Radio Network. Thanks for allowing us to serve as your net control this evening. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946 WQIR 514. My name is Justin.
Atlanta 1150 WRZV 748. Tony.
WSAL 368 Atlanta 263 Rogers.
You talked about how you get in the habit of saying your TAC number.
You said it the right way.
And your TAC number, and then the call sign, and then your name.
Yep.
So when I call out when I'm not on the net,
right,
I give them my TAC number, my call sign, and my name.
Do you? Well, at least you're not saying where you're at. Are you saying where you're at too?
Maybe. I'm not sure. So,
see you, Rhino.
If you hear me out there, be sure and call me out for that. All right, then. We are North Georgia GMRS Network.
Have a great one, guys.
And we're clear.
Good night, everyone.
Hey, 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 hey.